Hey everybody out there, welcome back to another episode of the Canon, where we dive into the cinematic world of comic books and superheroes. I want to introduce my partner today, Sal. Sal, how you doing?
I'm doing good. The time is upon us. The 2016 slate of comic book movies is here tonight. Start the ball rolling, so I'm really excited.
Alright, and as always, I'm your host, Terry. This past weekend was a little football game you might have heard of called the Super Bowl. This has become a prime spot for new trailers and other things for TV shows and movies. As promised, we've had quite a bit from the superhero movie world. So what we're going to do now is rank our top TV spots / trailers, whatever you want to call them, from the weekend. So Sal, what's your number one?
Well, surprisingly, if you've watched our other episodes, I haven't been a fan of this movie thus far. But for my number one, I'm going to say Captain America Civil War. That little 30-second spot there was the one that got me most hyped. It was the same kind of trailer the first one was, so it wasn't really anything different. But for whatever reason, it resonated with me a little bit more than the first one did. One really cool spot that a lot of people were talking about was Bucky and Tony. When Tony's hand turned into Iron Man, and Bucky was trying to shoot him. So I thought that was really cool, just to kind of set the tone of what the stakes really are in this movie. Another part was obviously the lineup at the end really got me, just to see, especially seeing Ant-Man and Black Panther in the mix now, and seeing them face off with one another be really anticipated for me. So that was my number one. How about you?
My number one was, I guess, I don't even know what to call them, but the Batman vs. Superman Turkish airline things. Not really as much getting me hyped, but as far as being creative, I just really thought that they took the marketing to a new level. Not like the best we've seen, because Deadpool's the best, but we at least got to see a different form of marketing where, it's kind of cool. Ben Affleck, selling his city, and then, of course, Lex selling Metropolis, so to the point where everything's Batman versus Superman, whether it's city versus city, whether it's Bruce versus Clark, or it's, Batman actual versus Superman. Yeah. So they're hitting it on all levels. What was your second?
Well, that was my second, Batman Superman. I thought, again, like you said, it was really creative. It's different from anything we've seen from really any of the superhero movies. One thing I did like about it was the Easter eggs, a couple of them that they had in each trailer, whatever commercial you want to call it. Ace Chemicals was the big one. I like that the logo of Ace Chemicals kind of stayed true to the original comic books or the video games too. That's really how it looks in them. So the Joker might be involved in this movie a little bit more than we thought. At least maybe just more Easter eggs, but I thought that was really cool to see. And to take it one step further, if you Google, Turkish Airlines Gotham, it'll take you to the webpage of Turkish Airlines, and it has this fake account for if you want to fly to Gotham. And it has this the city overview and tourist attractions and stuff, and it mentions a bunch of different locations that are from the comic books, like Amusement Mile, and it said it's dark carnival history, I think it was something like that. So that has to do a lot with like the Joker and stuff. But I think, like you said, just a different take. It's really cool. How about, and then your number two?
My number two would be Captain America, slightly edging out X-Men Apocalypse. As far as I liked, the part where Tony uses the watch to turn to the hand was cool, but then Bucky shooting him, and Robert Downey Jr. is like so natural reaction, like, oh my God, you just tried to kill me. And so we talked about before the stakes, and you mentioned it. I said, what are the stakes? Because we know Thanos is coming, so this movie's kind of a throwaway. But that doesn't mean in execution you can't make it feel like there's high stakes. Even though we know something bigger is coming, you get scenes like that that draw you in. The whole chanting, in the background, divided we stand and all that, I didn't really care for that. It felt kind of weird in there. And then the lineup shots were cool, but I keep coming back to the same thing. Team Iron Man is like way more overpowered than Cap's team. They said they took out Hulk and Thor because they're too powerful. Whoever has them wins. Yeah. I'm like Vision. Vision can pick up Thor's hammer.
Be all end all kind of superhero.
Yeah, so that was number two for me. Slightly edging out X-Men. So what was your number three?
X-Men. This is one of my most anticipated movies of the summer, but the trailer wasn't anything new. Again, it was just a TV spot, but it was kind of the same thing as the first one. Olivia Munn is Psylocke. I liked seeing her in action. That she looked actually really, really cool in what I think she sliced a car in half.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. We saw the picture of that, I think, a couple of days before, but to actually see it in the trailer was nice. And the one thing I didn't care for was the different inflection in the apocalypse speech, I guess you can call it, when he says, what does he say again?
Build a new world from the ashes.
Yeah, whatever he says. I can't even think. For whatever reason, I can't think of it right now. I'm a little sick. But he just says it a lot different. He says it in this one as if he's talking to his small group of followers, as opposed to maybe a bigger group that could be seen or could be heard through the first trailer. I thought it just sounded a lot cooler in the first trailer, so I hope they keep it with that one. I know obviously movies take a lot of different takes in certain things, so I hope they keep with the first one though.
Yeah, X-Men was my third one. I liked it, and I really wanted to be number 2. I know it was short, but for me, I just felt like Apocalypse was just different in this one. And I know you said the way he talked seemed a little different, the way he delivered it, but just it seemed like it was more action for him. And even though he didn't do a lot, we just saw him be more menacing. Maybe it was sticking on the shot a little longer before cutting to something else, so we got to see, more of his face and stuff like that, and him choking out Mystique like it was nothing. It just, to me, it brought Apocalypse to the light, and I just liked it more. I mean, I liked the first trailer, but this kind of just gave me more Apocalypse, so I really liked that one. And then I don't even think we need to say both our number 4s. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A lot of people are excited though. They saw Krang, Bebop, Rocksteady. We knew were coming. I don't think Krang we really knew about.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of like that, then you're probably excited. It does seem a lot more true to the TV show and the cartoons. I like Ninja Turtles, but I didn't really watch the show that much. So just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, same here. I probably won't go see it, to be honest. It did look a little less Michael Bay-ish, at least in the trailer, compared to the first trailer. For the first movie. Just to me, it seemed a little less big action shots. But Krang looked really cool. I know him from some of the animated movies with them, so that was pretty cool to see. They did him pretty well. Other than that, though, it looked pretty much similar to the first movie. So we'll see.
All right, so yesterday, as many of you know, we had a brand new / final trailer, hopefully final trailer, for Batman vs. Superman. Sal, go ahead. What do you think about it?
This was a surprise to me. I think I didn't even know they were coming out with another one. I think it's going to be a preview for Deadpool. I think that's why it kind of came out right before, the premiere of Deadpool. So I think we'll see it on the big screen, which would be really cool.
Yes.
It was definitely different from any of the other trailers we've seen. It had, I think it was like a rock and roll riff kind of music in the background. So that was different. It was just overall, had a different feel to it, but it was still kind of kept true to what they're trying to portray on the big screen. I know you have a lot to talk about. I think the fight sequence, so I'll kind of keep it to that. But other than that, the ending, each ending in each movie has been like, you just want to jump out of your seats, and this one was no different. When Clark just looks at his punch being stopped was like incredible. And I know you said people saying there's Krypton in Batman's suit, which maybe that's why his punch will not work against Batman, his armor suit. So I'm really interested to see how they kind of bring that to light. But overall, again, amazing. So hopefully it's during Deadpool.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully we see it on the big screen. Definitely didn't know this was coming at all. I've said before, I did not need to see anything else after the TV spots. Then we got the Turkish Airlines, so I was like, whew, okay, thank God they didn't give us another trailer. And then this happened. So at first I was like, but then I watched it. Man, my soul jumped out of my body, and my faith was restored. I just feel like they did so much damage with that trailer with Doomsday. And then the TV spots going back to Batman v Superman build up a little bit goodwill, but it was like, okay, I'm gonna go see it. I never said I wasn't, but my excitement isn't where it used to be.
Yeah.
This put it back. This put it back. We seen Batman. We seen Ben Affleck. We seen him just staring at suit, staring at Robin's suit, staring at newspaper, looking mad.
Yeah.
Then we start hearing them talk. We got TV spots. We hear them talking. Do you bleed? All that stuff. And now we got them fighting, and that's what we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
The whole Batman Superman fight, I guess we kind of got distracted on. I never really thought about him fighting other people. And even though we got a glimpse of that scene earlier in a different trailer, I remember thinking like, man, that kind of looks like it's going to suck.
Yeah.
And I was like, because it doesn't look as good as Christian Bale when he was fighting. It was much more
Clean out rooms.
Yeah, it was just like the scene when in The Dark Knight where he was in the club and he just was.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. So I'm like, I see that glimpse and I'm Ben Affleck doesn't look as smooth. He's not smooth. He's all power.
More of a brute.
Yeah, we see him like power bomb, choke slam, whatever he did. Kane, Undertaker, that dude.
It looked like Street Fighter-esque. Like
yeah,
and the guy just.
I was like, wow. And then that scene kind of got me thinking, like, does his suit have like some type of super strength or something?
Yeah.
Because he's throwing guys through walls. He punches the dude's head straight through the floor, and I'm like, wow, okay, that took my breath away. And then it kind of falls in line with some people were talking about rumors that Batman's killing people, or at least beating them down pretty bad. Like they kept talking about cruel and all that, and we didn't know what they meant. And I heard someone online say that Batman's supposedly killing people now. And so I'm like, I don't know if they'll stretch it that far. But then we see this trailer. I'm like, pretty much looks dead to me. He just knocked his head through the floor. So I'm like, this sets up a real reason why Superman hates him. But then we finally see Wonder Woman speak. Yeah. I thought they were hiding Gal Gadot. And in a sense, you could say they were. But it does seem like they were kind of teasing you. And they finally let it out, and it wasn't much, but it was enough just to kind of see. And it's weird with acting in movies, like, yeah, we can see them all we want, but we got to see the whole picture, see them talking and moving and everything. So it looked fine. We saw her and Wonder Woman in action a little bit. That all looked good. And Alfred, just starting off in the beginning trailer, like we talked about the images, I said Alfred looks like he's doing a lot more than being a butler. And then this one kind of shows it again. He's watching the visuals. I don't know if he's actually piloting the, well, he might be because he said, I'm going to drop you off on the second floor. So it's like he's piloting the Batwing. Like, it's so much. And then the last scene.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill captured what it means to be superhuman and indestructible, and then all of a sudden be powerless.
Yeah.
And then it kind of puts that into context where he says, I'm going to teach you what it means to be a man. First it sounds really weird, but then when you see that in that shot, you're like, okay, now we kind of understand. It's funny you called him Clark when you mentioned him, because I was like, in that moment, he went from Superman to Clark Kent. Cool. So I need to see this movie. That's all I'll say about that. All right, so next up, there's a rumor going around that Captain America Civil War, they shot 2 different scenes that are supposedly the ending. One scene, we have Captain America kind of walking out, he's alive, and he has a new group of what they call Secret Avengers. And if you know comics, you know what we're talking about. The other scene depicts Crossbones coming back and then killing Captain America. And the plan is to bring him back in Infinity Wars Part 2 with one of the Infinity Stones. So, Sal, what do you think about this rumor? Do you think, do you think it's true? But also, which scene would you prefer?
It's hard to say if it's true or not. I mean, I could see any movie doing, especially comic book movies, I could see them going with 2 endings because they're not sure what they want to do moving forward. So I think they really have to figure out what they want to do in Infinity War 1 and 2 to decide what they want. But in terms of what I would want, I would definitely have him die. I think I might have said it to you on a different episode or just any other time. I said it to someone. I was like, he should die. I mean, he dies in Civil War in the story, so why not? You know, it's not going to be verbatim like the comic, but if he died, I think it would really make the story that much more important, especially with Marvel, because Marvel tends to sometimes look ahead too much, and they don't care about you know, this specific movie they're working with. We saw it in Age of Ultron, where you thought that was going to be a very epic movie, and it just turned out to be a stepping stone to the next thing.
Yeah.
So I think this would surprise a lot of the casual fans if they don't know the story. But spoiler, if you haven't seen Civil War or read it, he does die in it. But in terms of just the movie, I think if he died, that would make me happy. As bad as that sounds. But like you called it too, they would probably just bring him back with an Infinity Stone anyways. I can see that happening. So I definitely think it's very likely that he will die.
All right, yeah. Yeah, like you said, it kind of falls in line with what I thought they would do if they killed Captain America. I didn't think they would leave him dead. As far as which one I would prefer, knowing that he would come back, I guess I would prefer him just to stay alive. The whole Secret Avengers things, I think it might be a similar lineup to the Secret Avengers, but I don't think it'll be like going towards a Secret War storyline. They just don't have time, and they don't, you know, that's a whole nother thing. I don't think they have time to do that. But him just, you know, kind of walking off with his crew, it makes sense. It leaves a lot of questions, and like you said, these are rumors, and there's no way to know if it's true yet. But it does leave a lot of questions. Both of them leave a lot of questions, I guess. But if he's alive and he's got his own Avengers group, then that means they go into Infinity Wars Part 1 still separated.
Yeah. And
then something has to bring them back together. So, it kind of... It's like I said, there's no way, either way you slice it, this movie doesn't have a lot of emotional weight. Like, it just doesn't. Because if you kill him to give you that weight, he's coming back at some point. You would have to assume, so. Alright, so next up, we have director James Gunn talking about Thanos' role in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. In a Facebook Q&A session, he had this to say about Thanos. Thanos will not appear in Volume 2. No, as I've said before, Thanos isn't in this movie. I think he's going to have a little bit to do and say when it comes to a certain wars in Infinity. We've got other fish to fry in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Gunn goes on to talk about the Infinity Stones, saying, we're not really so much about the Infinity Stones in Guardians 2. Is that a spoiler? It's not really a thing. So Sal, what do you think about these comments on Guardians of the Galaxy removing itself from the main Thanos arc?
Well, in terms of Thanos, they only have... Well, they've already introduced Thanos. I think enough for the casual fan. But you still kind of want to see more of him. And other than Guardians 2, you have Thor and Black Panther. So I don't know if he'll be in Black Panther at all. He might be in some Thor. But other than that, Marvel might think that his character has been introduced enough to kind of have him be the main baddie in Infinity Wars. In terms of Infinity Stones and Guardians, I don't know what exactly the rumors and the storyline might be for Guardians 2. You might be able to elaborate that more for me. But I don't know. But in terms of, I don't know, it's kind of going to be a whole different movie then, because that's kind of what we focused on the whole first movie.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think it'll make the movie any worse. I think they know what Guardians is. They already have their kind of audience set for that. So I don't know. I don't think it'll affect the movie at all. It just in terms of setting up Infinity Wars, it could be bad. But we'll see how far they go, because we only have the Time Stone and Soul Stone. Yeah, those two left. So there's two left. I mean, they're kind of the most powerful ones, I think. Did I say space? No, time. Yeah, so they might be the most powerful ones. So we might. I'm guessing we'll wait till Unless we see one in Wakanda for some reason, which I could see happening. It could be buried deep in
the vibranium.
Yeah, they could. So we'll see, but I'm not too worried about it. I mean, I like Thanos a lot, but we'll see him enough in Infinity Wars 1 and 2.
Kind of what you said is my thoughts, and that is what Guardians of the Galaxy was. Yeah. It's Thanos and the power gem or whatever they called the one they had. That was the whole setup. Like, that was our direct link to Thanos, because everything else was on Earth. This was the first thing that was. I mean, you have Asgard, but that's even still not really space. So this was our real close link. And it's weird to me that he's not going to be in this movie. And it's weird there's no Infinity Stones. There was some other quotes he had, but I only saw it in one place. I didn't see enough people confirm it, so I didn't really put it in there. But he kind of went on to talk about how this movie isn't connected to the larger arc, and that Disney's letting him do his own thing. And so that is just intriguing to me, because everything has been connected, universe, and especially for Guardians, that was a wild card. And even though it did well, to let that be the movie that kind of detaches itself. Yeah. And so there was rumors of, I thought Hulk was going to show up, like way back when I was doing my theories on my podcast. I was talking about the Hulk is going to get sent. He's going to do something terrible because he's mind controlled in Avengers 2. He's going to get sent away. He's going to show up in Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're going to like drop him off, and it's going to turn into Planet Hulk. That was my thought. Parts of those have come true, but it doesn't look like he's going to run across the Guardians. Looks like he'll be on, Thor's level or whatever. So it's just, it looks like they passed the torch. It's like, okay, Thor Ragnarok is now the Thanos. Yeah. That's where he'll be housed at, because you got to think with Loki and Hela, they got something to do with their work for Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet. Something's going to happen with that. And so now Guardians is just sitting there like, okay, well, we're going to just make another movie. But it's like, what are the stakes? Yeah, but what do you even talk about? Like, I don't know their villains. I mean, it's space, so it's a lot of stuff you can do. Like, is it going to turn into Star Wars? I don't know what exactly the Guardians are going to do if it doesn't connect to the rest of the Marvel universe.
But I also think that's the cool thing with Guardians. No one knew that it was going to be the hit that it was. So now it was a hit, but now can it be a hit without the connected universe? So I think that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, and if it's one guy to do it, it's cool breeze James Gunn. It's not really a thing in this movie. Yeah. I'll just do my own thing. Alright, so on the news about Deadpool 2. First off, the movie has been officially greenlit by Fox Studios. After a massively positive reception in test screenings and from critic reviews, the movie has the green light to go ahead with the sequel. In relation to the sequel, director Tim Miller touched on the possibility of Cable while speaking about the current Deadpool movie, saying, "There aren't really many definitive Deadpool villains, apart from Cable. If we don't put Cable in Deadpool 2, I think we'll be run out of town on the rail." So Sal, you called this a little while ago.
I did.
What do you think about Cable being introduced in the sequel?
I think it shows, what the creators and what the producers, especially Ryan Reynolds, think about the fans. They know that there are very hardcore fans out there for Deadpool. I think from now on, they're going to give them what they want. They're going to give us what we want. I think in terms of him being involved in number 2, it'll be more of a origin friendship, kind of how they got together. Initially, Deadpool, I think, was hunting Cable. I don't know. I'm assuming when Cable came back from the future, because Deadpool's a mercenary, so he was somehow hired to hunt Cable.
Well, tell them who Cable is real quick.
Oh yeah. Well, again, Cable is Cyclops and
Jean Grey?
Well, no, it's Jean Grey's clone. I forgot her name. Starts with an M, but it's Jean Grey's clone. So they had a baby, and it was Cable, and that was in the future. And Cable comes back because he sees what the future holds, which is not good. And so he tries to kind of prevent that from happening. But in terms of the movie, the second one, I think it's gonna kind of follow that a little bit, where we see them start out as enemies or whatever you want to call it, and then make a friendship out of that. So it's gonna be kind of from there on, it's gonna be, I think, more of a buddy cop kind of movie. Yeah, so you can have the different personalities of Cable and then of Deadpool. So I think it's really important that they find the right actor who can complement Ryan Reynolds. Otherwise, it's just not going to be great. But I have all the confidence in these in the people behind the scenes on Deadpool that they'll make it happen. So
yeah, I mean, I don't profess to be a comic expert. I'm not really a comic book person. I love the superhero and all that genre, and my introduction was more through cartoons and video games and everything, being a 90s baby. So, you know, so I don't profess to know everything. I do know Cable, Cyclops' son, and everything. So when you kind of brought it up before, I've heard people talking about it, and you were calling your shot, and I said, okay, makes sense, but I didn't know enough to be like, whether, you know, they're going to do it. But like you said, Fox has enlisted Ryan Reynolds, a super fan, to not only star but produce and creatively help the process. And then Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool, has been on board, you know, from the beginning. After the ball drop with X-Men Origins, they kind of brought him in to help fix it. So they are sticking with the comics. They're bringing the fans what they want, like you said. It would be interesting to see what the sequel's about, how they go about topping the first one, and then, you know, is it going to be a Deadpool v Cable, or is it going to be like you said, where it's a quick disagreement, then they go right into the, you know, being buddy cops. So, but Deadpool getting a sequel is probably the more big news to me. It's just like, well, look at that. Obviously, they have a lot of confidence in this movie because it hasn't even released worldwide before they greenlit it. So, got me excited.
Me too.
All right, so sticking with the subject of Deadpool, tonight is the worldwide release of the movie. And so, Sal, I know you're going to go see it tonight. I'm seeing it tonight. I'll be in Detroit for all Detroit fans want to come hang out, AMC 20. And so, going into this movie, the opening movie for 2016, the year of the superhero, we've kind of seen the critic reviews. They're pretty good, really good.
Yeah.
The fan reviews were off the chart. What are your expectations going into this movie?
Well, just like that, for it to kick off this slate of movies, I mean, I think it was the right movie to kick off 2016. Again, I'm sticking with my theory that it's going to be overshadowed by everything else. But at the time, from now until May 24th at 12 a.m., it's going to be the movie that everyone's been talking about. So, just my expectations, I hope the comedy is really good, just because a lot of the comedy we've seen in the trailer so far, some of it has been funny to me, but others, and I've talked to other people, it hasn't really hit them as like, oh, this is different than anything else we've seen. So I think they have a lot of comedy up their sleeve, a lot of dirty comedy, especially. So I'm not too worried about that, and just hope that it, you know, lives true to all these critics talking about it and all the fans, and I think it will. I mean, I think Ryan Reynolds has had his heart in this project for the last 15 years. He said to himself he's wanted to do this all his life. So I'm pretty confident, and I have high hopes for it. How about you?
I'm excited just to get this thing rolling.
Yeah.
You know, secretly inside I'm more happy because it means I'm closer to Batman v Superman. But I'm really excited I get to watch it in a different city and everything, and just kind of be amongst the fans. I'm not a big crowd person. You know, I like to just enjoy the movie the first time kind of myself, but you know, every once in a while movies deserve, you know, the big crowd and the big buzz to kind of see how they feel about it. So you know, maybe the people of Detroit are different, I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see how they react to it, and to see what crowd is in there. You know, do we have kids, or you know, do we have teens sneaking in, or you know, what is it going to look like? But the movie, I'm a huge fan of Collider, first of all, Collider Video. So I watch them every day, and they had their review because, of course, they're
Maybe we'll be there one day. Don't worry.
One day, Fox, if you're watching. So the expectations have been shot up the roof. Like they really said it was amazing, and particularly the comedy. They just said it was like one of the best comedies too, and you know, the stuff that I read, even the stuff we've seen from the fans with the surprise screening, like everything's been in line. This movie is just as 100% accurate as you can get with Deadpool. So, and I'm not a huge like dirty joke type guy. Like if it's funny, I'ma laugh. If it's set up right, it's good comedy, I'ma laugh. I think my favorite, I haven't seen it, but the part I'm looking forward to is TJ Miller and Ryan Reynolds going back and forth. Banter makes me laugh. And then kind of the dynamic of Deadpool living with that old lady.
Yeah.
Like that just looks hilarious. So I'm ready for that. I'm just expecting a buzz to be created throughout the world for superhero movies. I know the hardcore fans, they're excited. But I think the narrative for a lot of people outside of the hardcore fans has been, when is this movie bubble going to pop? Yeah. Are there too many superhero movies? We're tired of it. And I just really want 2016 to get kicked off with a buzz, a positive, just strong energy. Like, you can make 30 of these. I want them to keep coming. Yeah. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm just expecting fun. I'm expecting to see Ryan Reynolds really make up and give a love letter to the fans for what Fox did to him in X-Men Origins.
And how many cutscenes too, right? That's what I've heard.
I only heard one. Did you hear two?
I thought I heard two. Maybe
I heard that you laugh from opening credits to the end of the credits scene.
Okay.
Whole way through.
So there's stuff after, like during the credits, and then there's an end credit scene, basically. Okay. Well, I'm gonna, regardless, you're gonna stay around till they kick you out. So we'll see.
And that is the show for today. Also, be on the lookout for our review of Deadpool. We're excited. The first movie review for the Canon. So after we go check it out, we might go check it out again together and then shoot the review. Who knows? We're crazy over here. But if you like what you heard and you want more of the Canon, please give us the ammo by clicking the subscribe button below. I want to thank Sal. Sal, where can the people find us?
They can find us on Twitter at The Canon Vlog or on Facebook, facebook.com/The Canon.
And I'm your host, Terry. And remember, if you heard it here today, it's Canon.
Dab. He's almost 50 years old. He's in great shape. More than any 50-year-old I know.
Looks almost like me.
Yeah. So, I think, again, it would be a great time for him to walk away. But